What if an ordinary object could destroy your life just by being near it? A wooden chair, a child's doll, a diamond necklace, things that seem harmless at first glance, yet carry stories of tragedy and dread. For centuries, people have whispered about cursed objects, everyday items said to bring misfortune, accidents, even death to those unlucky enough to touch them. Some dismiss them as coincidences. Others swear they've felt the chill of something unnatural attached to these objects. Tonight, we'll uncover 10 of the most infamous cursed items in history, each one wrapped in mystery, fear, and unanswered questions. It began as a simple wine cabinet sold at an estate auction. Scratched wood, rusted hinges, nothing unusual. But the man who bought it quickly realized he'd brought home more than furniture. On his first night, he heard whispers, soft but close, as if someone was standing right behind him. Shadows shifted in corners, and the smell of rotting flowers filled the air. This was the Dybbuk box, a name that would soon terrify anyone who heard it. According to Jewish folklore, a Dybbuk is a restless spirit that clings to the living, feeding on fear. And this box, many believe, holds such a spirit inside. Every owner reported the same signs: sudden illness, electronics failing, violent nightmares, strange bruises in the shape of hands. Eventually, the box was sealed inside a museum, locked behind glass. Yet even there, staff complained of cold spots, faint voices, and shadows that moved on their own. If it's just wood and metal, why does everyone who encounters it feel watched, even when they're completely alone? In a glass case, locked away and untouched, sits one of the most infamous dolls in history, Annabelle. At first glance, she looks ordinary, just a child's toy. But according to investigators, she is anything but harmless. Her story began in the 1970s, when two roommates claimed Annabelle moved by herself. Notes appeared in childish handwriting. Scratches marked the walls, and each night they felt the sensation of being watched. Paranormal experts eventually concluded the doll wasn't haunted by a child's spirit at all, but something far darker pretending to be one. Stories quickly spread of people mocking Annabelle. One man tapped on her case, daring her to do something. Hours later, he crashed his motorcycle and never made it home. Others claimed to see her hands twitch, her head shifting slightly, as though reaching for the glass. Today, Annabelle remains locked away, sealed behind protective barriers. But many believe the case isn't to keep people away from her, it's to keep her away from us. Imagine walking into a burned-down house, the walls blackened, the air thick with smoke. Among the ashes, one object always seemed to remain untouched, a painting of a young boy, his face frozen in tears. In the 1980s, this mass-produced artwork became infamous. Families who hung it often lost their homes to sudden fires, yet firefighters repeatedly found the painting face down, without a single mark. Rumors of a curse spread quickly. Some claimed the boy's eyes seemed to shine brighter after each disaster, as if feeding on destruction. When newspapers began warning the public, many tried to destroy their copies, but strange accidents followed. Some paintings refused to burn, while others mysteriously reappeared. Eventually, thousands were gathered and burned together, but many survived and still hang quietly in homes today. So the question remains, would you risk keeping one on your wall? In a small English pub once sat an ordinary wooden chair. Yet locals swore it carried a death sentence. Anyone who sat in it, they said, never lived long afterward. The story traces back to the 1700s, when a man named Thomas Busby was executed for murder. Before his hanging, he cursed the chair, swearing death to anyone who dared to sit in it. From then on, stories piled up. Soldiers who rested in it during World War II never returned from battle. A delivery driver sat in it before crashing his truck. Builders, bikers, pub visitors all met sudden ends. Terrified, the pub owner hid it in the basement, but the curse didn't stop. Finally, it was donated to a museum, where it now hangs suspended high on the wall so no one can ever sit in it again. Visitors say standing beneath it still sends a chill down the spine, as though Busby is still waiting for someone bold or foolish enough to take his seat. Some paintings invite you in. This one tries to push you away. Created in 1972 by artist Bill Stoneham, The Hands Resist Him shows a young boy beside a life-sized doll with dozens of ghostly hands pressing from behind a glass door. Disturbing enough on its own, but what happened after was worse. When it was later sold online, buyers reported terrifying activity. The boy vanished from the painting. The doll moved her head. The ghostly hands pressed harder against the glass. Some claimed they saw the boy stepping out of the frame, wandering the room. One family abandoned it after setting up cameras that seemed to capture exactly that, the figures moving. The painting was eventually secured in a gallery, but even staff refused to leave it uncovered after dark. If it can truly move, the question is simple. What happens if one of them decides not to return? In a museum in Key West, Florida, sits Robert the doll, dressed in a sailor suit and holding a toy dog. He looks harmless at first, but his history is infamous. He once belonged to Eugene Otto, a boy from the early 1900s. From the moment Robert arrived, strange events followed. Neighbors swore they saw the doll moving in the windows. Eugene's parents often heard him speaking to someone in his room, though two voices were heard, and whenever something went wrong, Eugene had one explanation: Robert did it. Over the decades, visitors reported Robert's expression changing, his head shifting when no one was looking. People who mocked him often faced misfortune: broken bones, car crashes, illnesses. Today, museum staff warn visitors to ask Robert's permission before taking photos. Letters pinned to the walls are filled with apologies from those who didn't, begging forgiveness for the disasters that followed them home. Some say he's just fabric and stuffing. Others believe he's still waiting for his next victim. Jewels are symbols of beauty and wealth, but some glitter with something darker. The black Orlov diamond, also known as the Eye of Brahma, is a 67-carat black diamond said to have been stolen from a sacred Hindu statue. From that moment, tragedy clung to its owners. In the early 1900s, multiple owners leapt from tall buildings to their deaths. Another followed the same fate decades later. Even those who only handled the stone reported an oppressive heaviness, as though it radiated despair. Eventually, it was cut into smaller pieces, reset into jewelry in an attempt to break the curse. The deaths stopped, but the aura of dread remained. Today, it's quietly traded among collectors who rarely display it for long, which begs the question: did cutting it end the curse, or scatter it into smaller fragments waiting to strike again? One of the most famous jewels in the world, the Hope Diamond, glitters with deep blue brilliance, but its history is laced with tragedy. Legend says it was stolen from a sacred statue in India in the 1600s. From that moment, its owners suffered ruin. A French gem dealer was torn apart by dogs. King Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette both wore it before they were executed. A Turkish sultan's concubine who possessed it was murdered. Even in modern times, caretakers reported strings of bad luck after coming too close. Newspapers dubbed it the Gem of Death. Today, it sits in the Smithsonian Museum, admired by millions. Yet some visitors swear they feel a strange chill standing before it, as if the diamond remembers every tragedy it has caused. Is it just superstition, or something waiting for the next person bold enough to take it home? Hidden in a private home lies one of the most unsettling artworks ever discovered, The Anguished Man. Its image is disturbing: a screaming figure, eyes hollow, mouth open in endless pain. But its story is even darker. The artist is said to have mixed his own blood into the paint before taking his life. Ever since, strange events have followed the canvas. Its owner reported doors slamming, figures in the shadows, and most chilling of all, screams echoing through the house. One night, he swore he saw a shadowy figure step out of the frame, standing silently at the foot of his bed. Terrified, he locked the painting away, but whenever it's displayed again, the activity starts once more. Recordings even capture cries that have no source, except the painting itself. Is it haunted? Or is it something far worse, a doorway to whatever tormented the artist's mind? In 1987, a Wisconsin family bought a secondhand bunk bed for their children. For a few weeks, it seemed like any ordinary piece of furniture, until the whispers started. Radios turned on by themselves, doors slammed violently, shadows darted across the rooms. The children began screaming that a witch was talking to them from the ceiling. Even visitors felt the heavy presence inside the home. The father once saw a glowing figure at the foot of the bed, its face hidden. Tools flew across the garage. The haunting grew so unbearable that the family burned the beds, desperate to end it. The activity stopped, but no one knows if the curse was destroyed with the furniture, or if it simply found somewhere else to hide. From dolls to diamonds, paintings to bunk beds, these cursed objects share one thing in common: ordinary appearances, hiding extraordinary dread. Some believe the stories are just coincidences, tales passed down and exaggerated over time. Others insist these objects carry an energy that clings to tragedy, waiting for the next person to cross their path. So the question is, if curses are real, how would you ever know if the object sitting quietly in your home isn't already carrying one? If you enjoyed this dive into the world of cursed objects, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss the next mystery.